The radio crackled with static as Captain Elena Vasquez adjusted her headset in the cockpit of the French military transport aircraft. Below them, the Sahara Desert stretched endlessly, its golden dunes catching the late afternoon sun. What should have been a routine patrol along the Mali-Burkina Faso border had just become something far more complicated. Control, this is Falcon 7. We have visual confirmation of the aircraft in question. Gulfstream G650, registration N456LM, currently on the ground at coordinates 14.2 degrees north, 0.8 degrees west. Appears to be surrounded by approximately 20 armed individuals. The voice of flight control at the French military base in Niamey came through clearly. Falcon 7, that aircraft is registered to Lionel Messi. Repeat, the football player. We have a diplomatic situation developing. Elena felt her stomach tighten. In her 12 years of military service, she'd dealt with hostage situations, drug runners, and terrorist operations across the Sahel region. But nothing had prepared her for the possibility of one of the world's most famous athletes being held by militants in the middle of the desert. Through her binoculars, she could see the sleek white aircraft sitting on what appeared to be a makeshift landing strip carved into the desert floor. Armed figures moved around the plane, their weapons clearly visible even from her altitude of 8,000 feet. Control, requesting immediate backup and authorization to engage if necessary. We have what appears to be a hostage situation in progress. The response came not from flight control, but from a different voice entirely, one with a distinct West African accent that Elena recognized immediately. Falcon 7, this is Captain Ibrahim Traore, President of Burkina Faso. I am personally coordinating the response to this situation. Do not engage without direct authorization from my command. Elena exchanged glances with her co-pilot, Lieutenant Marc Dubois. It was unprecedented for a head of state to directly communicate with a foreign military aircraft, but the situation was clearly beyond normal protocols. Understood, Captain Traore. Maintaining overwatch position. Can you confirm the status of the aircraft's occupants? The aircraft was en route from Bamako to Ouagadougou when it was forced to land by surface-to-air missile threat. We believe there are 4 people aboard, including Mr. Messi. The militants are demanding immediate withdrawal of all foreign military forces from the region in exchange for the passengers' safety. Elena felt the weight of the situation settling over her. The militants below weren't just random criminals, they were making political demands that could affect the entire Sahel region. And somehow, Lionel Messi had found himself at the center of it all. Captain Traore, what were Mr. Messi's activities in Mali? This seems like an unusual travel route for a football player. There was a pause before Traore responded, and when he did, his voice carried a gravity that made Elena pay closer attention. Mr. Messi has been conducting humanitarian work in the region through his foundation. However, the situation is more complex than it appears. I am deploying rapid response teams to the location, but I need your aircraft to maintain surveillance and provide real-time intelligence on the militants' movements. Elena banked her aircraft in a wide circle, keeping the crash site in view while staying out of range of any potential surface-to-air missiles. Through her high-powered cameras, she could see more details of the situation unfolding below. The militants had established a defensive perimeter around the aircraft, with heavy weapons positioned to cover all approaches. But something about their organization and equipment suggested these weren't typical bandits or opportunistic criminals. Control, these militants are well-equipped and professionally organized. I'm seeing night vision equipment, encrypted communications gear, and what appears to be military-grade weapons. This is not a random criminal operation. Lieutenant Dubois was monitoring radio frequencies and picked up encrypted communications that he was able to partially decode. Captain, I'm intercepting communications suggesting the militants knew about Messi's flight plan in advance. This appears to be a planned operation, not an opportunistic hijacking. Elena felt a chill that had nothing to do with the aircraft's altitude. You're saying they specifically targeted Messi's aircraft? That's what the intelligence suggests. The question is why? The answer came from an unexpected source. Captain Traore's voice returned to their radio, but this time he was providing information that reframed the entire situation. Falcon 7, I need to brief you on classified information relevant to this operation. Mr. Messi's presence in the region is not solely humanitarian. He has been coordinating with various intelligence agencies to help stabilize political developments across West Africa. Elena's training kicked in as she processed this revelation. Are you saying Messi is involved in intelligence operations? I am saying that Mr. Messi has been uniquely positioned to facilitate communications and coordination between various parties interested in regional stability. His celebrity status allows him to travel freely and meet with political leaders without raising suspicion. The militants who have intercepted his aircraft are attempting to disrupt these efforts. The implications were staggering. Elena realized she wasn't just dealing with a hostage situation, she was witnessing an attack on what appeared to be a sophisticated intelligence operation that used one of the world's most famous athletes as a central figure. Captain Traore, what specific intelligence work has Messi been involved in? His foundation's activities provide cover for facilitating communications between various governments and international organizations. He has been instrumental in preventing several regional conflicts by serving as an unofficial diplomatic channel. The militants below represent forces that benefit from instability and chaos. Lieutenant Dubois was monitoring multiple communications channels and suddenly straightened in his seat. Captain, I'm picking up radio chatter suggesting the militants are planning to execute the hostages if their demands aren't met within the next 2 hours. They're specifically mentioning Messi by name. Elena felt her training and instincts taking over. Captain Traore, what assets do you have approaching the location? My rapid response team is 45 minutes out. However, I have authorization to coordinate with your aircraft if you're willing to provide direct support. The situation has international implications that go beyond normal diplomatic channels. Elena looked at the scene below, calculating distances, wind patterns, and tactical options. The militants had positioned themselves well, but their focus on defending against ground assault might leave them vulnerable to aerial intervention. What kind of support are you requesting? I need you to create a distraction that will allow my ground forces to approach undetected. Your aircraft's presence has already altered their defensive posture. If you can draw their attention skyward at the right moment, we can neutralize the threat. Elena realized she was being asked to participate in what was essentially a military operation to rescue not just a celebrity, but someone who was apparently a key figure in regional intelligence work. The decision went far beyond her normal operational authority. Control, I need immediate authorization from command to provide tactical support for a hostage rescue operation involving diplomatic personnel. The response came swiftly, Falcon 7, you are authorized to provide all necessary support to Captain Traore's operation. This has been designated a matter of international security. Elena began her descent, coordinating with Traore's ground forces while maintaining surveillance of the militant positions. Through her cameras, she could see movement inside the aircraft, shadows that suggested the hostages were still alive. Falcon 7 to ground forces, I have visual confirmation of 4 individuals inside the aircraft. Movement suggests they are conscious and mobile. Militants are maintaining positions around the aircraft but appear to be focusing on external threats. Traore's voice crackled through the radio, ground forces in position. Falcon 7, we need you to make a low pass from the east at exactly 1847 hours. Draw their fire upward while we approach from the west. Elena checked her chronometer. 3 minutes to execution. She banked the aircraft into position, her hands steady on the controls despite the adrenaline coursing through her system. All stations, this is Falcon 7. Beginning approach run in 60 seconds. She brought the aircraft down to 500 feet, flying directly over the militant positions. As expected, they opened fire with automatic weapons, their attention focused entirely on the aircraft passing overhead. Ground forces, you have clear approach. Militants are focused on aerial threat. What happened next unfolded with military precision. Traore's forces emerged from concealed positions, moving with the coordination of elite special operations troops. The militants, caught off guard by the ground assault while focusing on the aircraft, found themselves surrounded and outgunned. Elena circled back to observe the operation's conclusion. Within minutes, the militants had been neutralized, and figures were emerging from the aircraft. Through her high-powered cameras, she could clearly see Lionel Messi walking away from the plane, apparently unharmed. Falcon 7, this is ground command. All hostages secured. 4 individuals recovered safely, including primary asset. Operation successful. Elena felt a wave of relief, but also a growing sense of the magnitude of what she'd just witnessed. Captain Traore, requesting confirmation of passenger status. All passengers are safe and accounted for. Mr. Messi is requesting immediate transport to continue his schedule. Apparently, he has a meeting in Ouagadougou that he considers essential to complete. Elena shook her head in amazement. The man had just been held hostage by armed militants in the middle of the Sahara Desert, and he was worried about keeping his appointments. Captain, what exactly is the nature of Mr. Messi's meeting in Ouagadougou? He is coordinating with representatives from 5 different countries regarding a joint humanitarian initiative that has significant implications for regional stability. The militants who intercepted his aircraft were attempting to disrupt these negotiations. As Elena watched the rescue operation's aftermath, she realized she had witnessed something far more significant than a simple hostage rescue. The coordination between multiple military forces, the international authorization for her involvement, and the speed with which diplomatic resources had been mobilized all suggested that Messi's work in the region was far more important than public records indicated. Control, this is Falcon 7. Operation complete. Requesting authorization to provide escort for the recovered aircraft to its destination. Falcon 7, you are authorized to provide full escort to Ouagadougou. Priority Alpha clearance for all airspace. Elena formed up alongside Messi's aircraft as it took off from the desert landing strip. Through her side window, she could see the football legend sitting calmly in the passenger cabin, apparently reviewing documents as if nothing unusual had happened. Lieutenant Dubois, in your 12 years of military service, have you ever seen anything like this? Dubois shook his head. A football player involved in international intelligence operations, coordinating diplomatic initiatives that require military protection? No, Captain. This is definitely a first. Elena maintained formation with Messi's aircraft as they flew toward Ouagadougou, her mind processing the implications of what she'd witnessed. The world's most famous athlete was apparently also involved in some of the most sensitive international security operations in one of the world's most unstable regions. Captain Traore, can you provide any additional context about Mr. Messi's activities in West Africa? What you witnessed today represents just one aspect of a much larger effort to bring stability to our region. Mr. Messi's unique position allows him to facilitate communications and coordination that would be impossible through traditional diplomatic channels. His presence at tomorrow's meeting in Ouagadougou could literally prevent a regional conflict. Elena looked over at Messi's aircraft, flying serenely through the African sky. Inside that plane was someone who had redefined what was possible in football, and apparently, he was simultaneously redefining what was possible in international diplomacy and intelligence work. Control, this is Falcon 7. Approaching Ouagadougou airspace. Request priority landing clearance for diplomatic aircraft. Falcon 7, you are cleared direct to Ouagadougou International. Diplomatic reception standing by. As they began their descent toward the capital of Burkina Faso, Elena realized that she had been privileged to witness something that would never make it into any official reports. The greatest footballer in history had just survived a terrorist attack while conducting intelligence operations that could affect the stability of an entire region. The aircraft touched down smoothly, and Elena watched as Messi emerged from his plane, greeted by a delegation of officials who treated him with the respect accorded to visiting heads of state. Whatever meeting he was rushing to attend, it was clearly important enough to risk his life for. Lieutenant Dubois, I have a feeling that everything we witnessed today will be classified at the highest levels. Agreed, Captain. But I have to ask, how many other impossible things are happening in the world that we never hear about? Elena taxied her aircraft toward the military section of the airport, her mind still processing the day's events. She had helped rescue one of the most famous people in the world from terrorists, but more importantly, she had helped preserve an intelligence operation that apparently played a crucial role in regional stability. As the sun set over Ouagadougou, Elena filed her mission report, knowing that most of the details would be redacted before it reached any official files. But she would always remember the day she learned that the beautiful game was just one of many games being played simultaneously, and that the greatest player in history was competing in all of them. Somewhere in the city, Lionel Messi was attending his crucial meeting, his afternoon's adventure already becoming just another day in a double life that the world would never fully understand.